Howdy! Welcome to Aspire Mountain Academy. I am Professor Curtis, your instructor for this course in Introductory Statistics. In less than 10 minutes, this video describes how to calculate the minimum sample size needed to estimate a confidence interval for population standard deviations. Let's get started. So before we were looking at calculating minimum sample size to estimate mean or the proportion, we had this nice little formula that we had to use. And I call it nice because it's not excessively complicated, but, at the same time, it's not necessarily nice because, why couldn't they have programmed that into StatCrunch or something like that? You know what I mean? Here, though, with the sample size for variance or standard deviation, the actual equation that you're going to need to use is quite a bit complicated. So what you're going to be using to solve problems with questions about sample size is just looking up values at a table. So an example table is like one that you see here on the left, where you've got your standard deviation here on the left side. You've got your variance on the right side. And then for each of those halves, you've got two other halves. So the half here on top is you've got a 95% confidence level. The half here on the bottom is 99% confidence level. And then you've got different percentage points that you can use for your margin of error. Then once you just basically just go from one to the other until you find the right number, read it right off the table. There's your minimum sample size. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than just read a number off a table. Let's take a look at an example problem where this can be used. So the Census Bureau wants to estimate the population standard deviation for current annual incomes of adults in the United States. What minimum sample size do they need to be 95% confident that the sample standard deviation is within 5% of the population standard deviation? Okay, well, we're just going to use our table to get our sample size for standard deviation. So here's our table, and we go back and look at our problem statement. So are we looking for standard deviation or variance? Well, here in the problem it says we're looking for standard deviation. So that's going to be the left side of our table. Next, we notice we're 95% confident, so that's going to be the top half of that half. So now we're in the top left quarter of our table. And then we see in our problem statement that we want to be within 5%. So we just look there on the list for 5%. And then what's the number right next to it? We just read over. There's our minimum sample size, 768. Now, is the population of incomes normally distributed? Well, think about this. What say you? Is the population of incomes normally distributed? Well, I hope you said no, because think about it. If the population were normally distributed, okay, income level, that means you start low, you go high, and then you come back and you get low. Well, that's not what we see, because what that would mean is that there'd be just as many poor people as there are really wealthy people. And that's not what we see at all. We see a lot more poor people than we do really wealthy people. So no, the population of incomes is not normally distributed. How does the distribution affect the sample size? Well, very simply put, this table is built on the assumption that you have a normally distributed population. So if you don't have a normally distributed population, then that means the sample size estimate that you have from the table is probably going to be an error. So it's not likely to be correct that our minimum sample size is 768 because the data in our population are not normally distributed. Let's go back and revisit Old Faithful. What's the smallest sample size we must have to be 95% confident our sample standard deviation is within 10% of the true value of the population standard deviation? Well, again, we're going to go back to our table and just piece together what we have from our problem statement. So we're looking for standard deviation. So that's going to be the left side of the table. And then we want to be 95% confident. So that's going to be this top quarter here. Then we want within 10%. So come down here, read 10%, look at the value right next to it. There's our small sample size, the minimum 192. Previously, in a previous mini lecture, we calculated the 95% CI estimate for Old Faithful. Did we have enough data to make that CI estimate? Well, if you go back and you look at the data file that contains our Old Faithful data, we have 270 data points. We only need 192. So yeah, we've got enough data to make our confidence interval estimate. Let's look at one final problem involving home voltage. So we want to be 95% confident that our estimate of the standard deviation of all voltage levels in a home is within 20% of the true value. This would be nice if it could be, somewhat consistent, because otherwise you run the risk of, having voltages that are widely inconsistent and opening up a wider possibility that your house is going to burn down. So, how large should the sample be? We're assuming the population is normally distributed, so we're just going to go back and look at our table. That's all we need. That's all we can do for sample size for variance and standard deviation. So again, we want this top left quarter because we're looking at standard deviation and we want to be 95% confident. Now we're going to find the row with the 20% because we want to be within 20% of the true value. Read the value that's right next to it. There's the 48. That's our minimum sample size. So we should obtain a simple random sample of at least 48 voltage levels from the population of all voltage levels. And that will allow us to construct a 95% confidence interval estimate on the standard deviation. And that brings us to the end of this mini lecture. I hope you found it helpful. You can find more mini lectures for this and other courses at AspireMountainAcademy.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.